Allowed It podcast.
Hello, Ankedu. Welcome back to another episode of Allowed It podcast. I am Nedinsa, and this week we are going to be discussing why men are so wicked. Why are men so wicked? Because what I've heard in the past week has spun my brain, has actually spun my mind. So there's this thing on TikTok, and I don't know if it's now a hashtag, and lots of people are chiming in, which I'm happy because there's outlet. I'm happy there's outlet and I guess more shedding light on things that are quite serious matter. But there's this one thing which has been coming up more and more for me. I'm just like, my For You page is really different recently. And it's co-parenting with a narcissist. That's what's been coming up on my For You page. I'm still like, dang. Okay, so I'm starting to watch and going through, and there's this one lady. So actually, there's a few. The first lady, I'm so happy she got out of a situation which involved domestic violence with her ex-partner, ex-husband, I'm not sure. And yeah, it sounds like she's got away from that, but this guy is doing a lot. He's driving up to her home just to intimidate. He's making drop-offs and pickups so difficult, where he's now got a camera in her face and she doesn't even feel comfortable enough or safe enough to turn around to buckle the child into their seat because she doesn't know what he or whoever the family are behind him, his mother, and there's this other guy. She doesn't feel safe. And I'm just there like, honestly, in this lifetime, choose your partner wisely. That goes both ways, but choose your partner wisely. Because what do you mean? What do you mean? I saw a video of him in his blue car driving up and parking outside her house and watching, and then she says in the description or somewhere that he only left because one of the neighbors came outside. He keeps on calling for the police to come to her house, making up things. He keeps on creating situations that she now has to deal with, which looks like on a daily, weekly, monthly basis. But this is someone with your child. Do you not care? You really don't care. I think that whole car situation really irked me because the child was right there. And you're doing it in front of little Pekin. You're really doing it in front of a child. So there was that situation. There was another one where this lady, she was on her way to the courtroom because she had recently found out that her, I guess, ex-partner had named their baby after his mistress's baby. So imagine, you're married to someone, you're with someone, generally, you have a child with them, and they're like, let's name her Susie. And then you find out, this guy is cheating on me. He's had a baby on me. Oh, he's named our child after the child he has procreated outside of our union. I could scream. I could actually scream right now. So I fully understand why she went to that court. She went to that registry and said, change that. But imagine her child was like 8 months, something like that. So you have grown to this name. Your child is probably even used to hearing this name. Like, you have bonded with the name. You've told everyone this name. Your family calls the child by this name. Everyone you have referred to, this is the name you have seen holding every day. And you have to now change it because of a stupid person that came into your life and did some tomfoolery. And it made me remember something that happened years ago now. Let me give some tea. I won't mention any names. The people who are involved, they know themselves. There was this one guy, you know what, how much should I give away? There was this one guy at university, an older guy, who I remember was flirting were people who should not have been in his scope. And when I say scope, I mean people who are just younger and didn't add up. I know that on paper, they love to say an 18, 19-year-old, it's legal. Barely. As long as you have that teen at the end of your age, you're not there. Get with your own. Be in relationship with your own age mates. Uncle of older generation. He was trying something, essentially. And the reason why I know this is because there was firsthand him trying things with me. It didn't add up. Because if now I still feel like I'm a baby girl, back then I was a fetus. So I don't know why he was even in my vicinity personally. But I wasn't his first point of call. I knew that for sure. Someone else I knew. I'm trying to keep things vague. But someone else I knew was high on his rank. High on his list. And guess what he did? So he's trying to pursue little ma'am. Let's call her Lady. He's trying to pursue Lady. And like I said, Lady is quite a bit younger than him. And she doesn't like him. I think she's made it quite clear, actually, that she doesn't like him. But he continues, as that age gap, typically does. Anywho. But yeah, he continues. And then at some point, he seems to get into a relationship with, hopefully, I don't even know, but I'm begging God, please. I'm hoping it's someone that is of his own age group. And he has a daughter. He has a child. If you guys know where I'm going with this already, you'll be mad. What does he name his daughter? Doesn't he name her Lady? He calls his daughter Lady. After Lady. The person I've just told you, Lady. Isn't that mad? So what should I call her? The girl, the lady he's with now, or was with, I don't even know what's happened since. I think they're still together though. But if he's still with Sophia, I hope she never finds out. I know, there's this whole thing of like, the truth will set you free. I don't think that one will set her free. Because her daughter, little lady, is a lot older now. She's probably like 6 years old, roughly around there. I don't think you can change little lady's name now. You've grown to it. And little lady's name is not exactly the most common. So you can put 2 and 2 together quite quickly. So I hope she never finds out, for her own sanity. And for little lady as well. Because I don't want her to find out in the future when she grows older that my dad's a numpty. But yeah. So I know situations, but personally, clearly, of when men are being wicked. Men can be so wicked. So there was another story I was reading online, and I thought, you know what? I don't do story times on this dear podcast of mine. Now, this is not a story I'm connected to, so I feel like I can read. Just be ready for your jaw to drop. The name and the title alone will make you shake in your boots. So the title is, The Man Brought Mistress to His Pregnant Wife's Funeral. Did you hear that? The man brought Mistress to his pregnant wife's funeral. Let's read. There's a picture actually, and I don't know. I assume this is fake, but there's a picture like that. If you're a visual listener, you'll see the picture I just showed at the moment. But let's read together. My name is Emily Carter, and there's one moment I will never erase from my memory. The day my brother-in-law arrived at my sister's funeral with his mistress wrapped around his arm. The church in our small Texas town was heavy with a scent of white lilies and low murmured prayers. At the front sat my sister, Lily's closed casket. She had been 32 weeks pregnant when she supposedly fell down the stairs. That was what Jason explained anyway. A tragic accident, nothing more. I never believed him. When the church doors opened and Jason stepped inside, the tension in the room tightened instantly. He wore a black suit, his expression carefully composed, and beside him was a tall brunette in a fitted black dress, clinging to his arm as if she belonged there. My mother sucked in a sharp breath. "Is he serious?" she whispered. I screamed anyway. That was me, gripping my hand painfully tight. "That's Rachel," I murmured. I recognized the name from months earlier when it had flashed across Lily's phone under the title, so the name on the phone said The Co-Worker. Never trust people who call random things like that in their names. If you see a woman that says, like, calls someone in her contacts Chinese, or because there's this thing where women do like the name of the food, like where the food is from, as the name of the guy. I've seen this one. I've seen that one. So never trust people. So this one called the lady, the mistress, the co-worker on his phone. Heads turned, whispers spread. Jason acted as though he noticed nothing. He guided Rachel to the front row, Lily's row, and sat down, letting her lean against him like she was the grieving spouse. Crazy work. My chest burned. I half rose from my seat, ready to pull her away, but my father yanked me back down. Not here, he warned quietly. Not during the service. The pastor spoke about Lily's warmth, her laugh, the baby boy she had already named Noah. I couldn't stop staring at Jason, understandably, trying to understand how a man who claimed to love my sister could bring his affair partner to her funeral only weeks after Lily and her unborn child died. So, yada, yada, yada. I'm going to fast forward a bit, right, to this story. You're getting the point, right? You're catching the drift. So, at some point, basically, you find out that there's a lawyer that's been brought, or Lily's attorney, and his name is Daniel Hayes. But let me move on. Right. So, Mr. Hayes, your wife... Oh, yes, that's it. Mr. Hayes didn't react. I fast forwarded, right? Mr. Hayes didn't react. Your wife left explicit instructions. He replied evenly. You know what? It actually makes sense for me to just read it. Should I? No, you get the point. I'm still going back and forth with myself. So her will is to be opened and read today in front of her family, in front of you. He opened his folder and fixed his gaze on Jason. There's a section Lily insisted be read aloud at her funeral. Every pair of eyes locked onto him as he unfolded a single sheet of paper, creased and worn as though it had been handled countless times. This is a personal statement Lily attached to her will, he explained, written in her own words 3 weeks before her death. Jason shifted uneasily. Rachel tightened her grip on his arm. Mr. Hayes began reading. If you are hearing this, I am no longer here. Jason, I know about Rachel. Oh, I've known far longer than you think. A gasp swept through the pews. My mother covered her mouth. Jason froze. I tried to forgive you for our baby's sake, but every lie, every late night chipped away at me until something inside died long before my body did. That is why I changed my will. Mr. Hayes paused briefly, then continued. To my husband, Jason Reed, I leave nothing beyond what the law requires. You may keep your personal items, the car in your name, that is all. You have already taken enough from me. Jason leapt to his feet. This is garbage, he shouted. She didn't write that. Rachel tugged at his sleeve, whispering urgently as phones discreetly began recording Jason. Sit down. Mr. Hayes remained steady. Good man. Lily's estate, including the house, savings, and life insurance, is to be placed in the trust of our unborn son, Noah. He read, if Noah does not survive, the trust will be passed on to my sister, Emily Carter, who will decide how best to honour my memory. So Emily's now speaking. My legs nearly gave out. I hadn't known. Tears clouded my vision. Jason let out a bitter laugh. Her sister? Emily can't even manage her own bills. This is insane. Sit down, Mr. Reed, Mr. Hayes said sharply. There is more. He reached into his briefcase and withdrew a thick, sealed envelope. This was delivered to my office 2 days before Lily's death, he said. It marks, in her handwriting, to be opened only if my death is ruled an accident. The church went utterly still. Jason's colour drained. Next page. If Jason claims I fell, please do not simply accept it. On March 5th, After I confronted him about Rachel, he grabbed my arm hard enough to bruise and told me, "If you destroy my life, I'll destroy yours." I no longer felt safe in my own home. I installed a small security camera at the top of the stairs. If something happens to me, my lawyer has instructions. So now we're talking about Mr. Hayes. He placed a small black flash drive on the table. This contains the footage Lily sent to my office. Oh, she wanted the truth heard, Mr. Hayes concluded, and now it will be. 2 weeks later, I sat in a cramped police station with my parents, Mr. Hayes, and a detective. A laptop sat in front of us. The video was grainy, but unmistakable. Lily stood at the top of the staircase, 8 months pregnant, crying. Phone in hand, Jason was below shouting, "You're not leaving," his voice roared. "You're not taking my son." "He's not your possession," Lily cried. "I'm done, Jason. I'm taking Noah and I'm going to my parents." "He's not your possession." Jason rushed upward, grabbed her wrist, She tried to pull free. His arm swung. She lost her balance. We watched my sister fall. My mother collapsed into my father, sobbing. I couldn't breathe. The detective paused the video. She struck her head. He said quietly, "This isn't an accident. This is a case." And it continues and continues, right? But essentially what you learn from this is that men can be wicked. Like I said at the beginning, men can be wicked. Because what do you mean? You have unalived your own wife and your own unborn son. And then on top of that, you've come to the funeral with the mistress. Are you not embarrassed? Do you not feel like God exists and therefore you're not scared? You're not scared of what you've done? Crazy. So when I read that, I was like, I need to bring this to this podcast because I was shocked. I was just there reading in bed like, no way. I was genuinely flabbergasted. Yeah. But I'm going to leave this episode here. I hope it feels weird to say I enjoyed this episode because it was quite tumultuous. This is not the type of episode you're meant to enjoy. But I hope I shed some light on things that have been happening, especially to those who are co-parenting with narcissists. Scary work out there. Those who are in relationships with scary humans. Yeah, choose your partner wisely. If that's not what you can take, if there's one thing you can take away from this episode, it's choose your partner wisely. But I'll leave it here. As I said, don't forget to use the hashtag #LoudItPodcast on Twitter, like, comment, and subscribe on YouTube. And if you're an audio listener on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, don't forget to leave me a 5-star review. I have a TikTok account now, #LoudItPodcast. I have an email, which is louditpodcast@gmail.com. I think that's everything. But I'll speak to you guys next week, Monday. Bye!